Hey yo, what is up YouTube? Welcome back to another chill reaction, man. And tonight we got another video from Explore With Us, the case of the Tinder killer. This is the case of the Tinder killer. So yeah, man, without further ado, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell and all of that shit if you're enjoying my content. If you don't, if it's your first time here, make sure to watch it. If you feel like it, of course. But yeah, let's get straight to this, man.
What is up, Iwu crew? Today we are going to be covering a story so chilling, it will make you think twice about who you believe you can trust. It is the case of Jesse Shane Kempson. If you enjoy true crime, mysteries, and true stories, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Now, let's get into it. Jesse was born and raised in the Wellington region of New Zealand with his parents, though they eventually divorced when he was only 9 years old. Following his parents' separation, Jesse spent the majority of his childhood with his father and his paternal grandfather, as his mother had moved overseas when his father remarried. In his early adulthood, Jesse attended Aotea College and even played softball at a regional level for a variety of teams. When he wasn't attending classes or playing softball, Jesse spent his time bartending when he could. In fact, when Jesse lived in Sydney, Australia between 2013 and 2016, he made a living bartending and working in construction and general labor. To his family, he appeared to be a hard-working young man who had a taste for the fun things in life.
Yeah, that's how I guess he portrayed himself to his family and his close ones. But I don't know the continuation of this video, but I mean, it's called the case of the Tinder killer. So I guess this guy's the Tinder killer. I guess he stalked women or met with women through Tinder and killed them. But let's find out.
But no one seemed to know exactly how Jesse defined fun. To everyone else in his life, Jesse was widely regarded as an enigma of sorts. Acquaintances who were familiar with Jesse said that he often claimed to have received his bachelor's degree in international law from Aotea College, and that he had originally come from money. In fact, it is said that Jesse used to claim to have come from a family of millionaires who owned restaurant chains in Sydney, and that he was in touch with a variety of vague contacts that worked in New Zealand immigration.
Yeah, so he lied about that, right? Yeah.
After his stay in Sydney, Jesse ended up moving back to New Zealand and to Green Lane and Mount Eden with a few other young adults who were on the cusp of starting their respective professional careers. Jesse's old roommates claimed that Jesse often engaged in disturbing, untrustworthy behavior and was known to be a bit of a pathological liar. In his early 20s, like many other adults his age, Jesse became rather obsessed with using dating apps. And perhaps,
I mean, he said like many other adults his age. Yeah, I mean, many adults in the early 20s are using dating apps, but they don't become obsessed with them.
Became rather obsessed with using dating apps. And perhaps
at least
one could refer to Jesse's addiction to dating apps as quite a deadly obsession. In December of 2018, Jesse found himself scrolling through Tinder in search of a date, as he frequently did. While doing so, Jesse came across the profile of a young woman named Grace Mullane. Grace was originally from Wickford, Essex, and had recently graduated from the University of...
Is Essex in the UK? I think it is. Well, I mean, there might be another place outside of the UK that's called Essex.
Lincoln.
But yeah.
After obtaining her bachelor's degree in advertising and marketing, Grace decided to take a gap year before applying to grad schools.
Okay.
And in doing so, she also decided to spend the majority of her gap year traveling and going on a backpacking tour to make the most of the experience. After backpacking through South America for 6 weeks, Grace decided to choose a new route for the next 2 weeks of her trip. On November 20th, 2018, Grace entered New Zealand, and by the 30th of the month, she made her way to Auckland. As Grace's birthday was just days away, she intended to spend her time in Auckland's Central Business District to celebrate on her own.
Is that in New Zealand?
Or perhaps not entirely on her own.
She was
on
about
December
to meet
1st,
with that guy,
the very eve before Grace's birthday, she coincidentally came across Jesse Kimson's profile on Tinder and, finding him attractive, swiped right. The two ended up matching and proceeded to have a conversation that quickly turned into the pair making plans to meet up for a date. That very same evening, Jesse and Grace met in person for the date as they had discussed. As seen on the CCTV footage from the Sky City building, the two embraced in a hug while exchanging pleasantries and introductions around 5:45
so that's
p.m.
them right there, right?
Then, the two proceed to head up the escalator to the second floor of the building,
escalator going up,
where they would come to make their first stop of the evening, a restaurant called Andy's Burgers and Bar. Once Jesse and Grace entered the bar, they can be seen on CCTV footage grabbing a couple of menus before ultimately picking a table just out of the camera's view.
Already, I mean, by that point, it sounds like an ordinary, first meeting, first date, whatever. It looks like fun, it sounds like fun.
To enjoy a few drinks and appetizers.
But
and
what's gonna happen?
Just over an hour later, the two are caught on camera again as they leave Andy's to head off to their next destination. They proceeded to leave Andy's
and the guy looks, he looks good.
Next
He's dressed fine, he got jeans. I mean, I can't see clearly, but he looks good. He looks buff. He looks, fresh cut.
They proceeded to leave the Sky City building and head out onto Federal Street, where they ultimately ended up deciding to enter another establishment called the Mexican Cafe. While at the Mexican Cafe, Grace and Jesse spent about an hour drinking around 3 jugs total of margaritas and sangria. Jesse can be seen covering the pair's tab before they ultimately move on to their third and final drink spot for the evening, the Bluestone Room. Around 8:30 p.m., just moments after they entered the establishment.
Hold the fuck up. They drank all that before 8:30 p.m. I mean, they didn't really drink too much, just a couple cocktails, Yeah, but
Jesse and Grace are caught on camera kissing passionately at least 3 different times.
Damn.
It appeared to those around them as though they're...
I mean, that's not really a passionate kiss. A passionate kiss would be more intimate, more... It looks like he has her... I don't know, maybe because in my mind I'm thinking this is gonna end badly. This motherfucker is a killer. Maybe that's why it seems creepy to me, but is that a passionate kiss?
At least 3 different times.
I mean, yeah, it
appeared to those around them as though their date was going well, and that the two of them seemed incapable of keeping their hands off of each other.
Looks like
And then, things took a turn for the worse. At around 9:20, Grace can be seen excusing herself from the pub table to presumably use the restroom. As she did so, she ended up leaving her purse behind with Jesse, hoping that he would look after it respectfully while she was gone. Except that...
of course, I believe from what I've seen and the way the dude describes the situation, why wouldn't you trust that guy, if you're a woman, just to go to the restroom, you leave your purse behind, you hang out with a guy, you kissed him, you feel comfortable. I guess she felt comfortable with him. So why not leave a purse behind just to go to the restroom and whatever, and do whatever she has to do?
That is not at all what happened.
Yeah, I believe so.
CCTV footage
That's why I
captures
clicked
the
on this
moment
video.
that Jesse actually reaches across the table to grab Grace's purse and search through it. Finding whatever he had been in search for, Jesse slips what we assume to be some cash into his pocket from Grace's handbag before she returns to the table.
And that's the least, I guess, from what's going to happen. And that is the reason why you don't leave behind your purse or whatever you got with you just to go to the restroom, even if you feel like the guy or the girl or whoever you're dating for the first time, even if you feel like they can be trusted, they can. I mean, you're meeting them for the first time. Holy shit! I have
concerning as that was,
no idea where this is going. But based on the title, I'm gonna take a guess, and I'm gonna guess that he's gonna do something bad to her. Let's see. I love the guy's voice, the guy that describes this from this channel.
before she returns to the table. And as concerning as that was, it did not end there.
Yeah.
Once the two exit the Bluestone room, they can be seen walking down the street until they ultimately end up at the City Life Hotel on Queen Street around 9:40 p.m. Jesse and Grace proceeded to book a room for themselves to spend.
Excuse me, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out where this is. Is this in New Zealand still? I don't know, man. Because he said Queens, and the only Queens that comes to my mind is in New York, But I don't know. I mean,
In the night
it doesn't really
and
matter.
were even captured getting into the City Life Hotel elevator from the lobby just moments later. Once the two arrived on the third floor of the hotel building, they exited the elevator and presumably headed off to the room they reserved. And unfortunately, that CCTV footage from mere hours before her birthday was the last time anyone ever saw Grace Millane alive.
Oh my God, and it was, like he said, a few hours before her birthday. Oh my God, he's gonna kill her. He's gonna kill her. I mean, the title is a big spoiler, the Tinder killer. Let's see where this is going. I'm sorry for pausing it too much, but like I said before on another video, if you fucking hate that I pause it too much, what the fuck are you doing on my channel in the first place? Just go and watch the original video, it's in the description as always. But yeah, I'm just sometimes I'm just pausing the video just to process what I heard and what I've gathered. And yeah, it's fucked up. I see where this is going.
The last time anyone ever saw Grace Millane alive. The first indication that something had gone horribly wrong was when Grace failed to respond to her parents' text messages and calls, in which they intended to wish her a happy birthday.
Oh my God. That is fucked up because it's your birthday. I mean, of course, you can be with your family at all your birthdays, but to get murdered, I mean, I suppose she's about to get murdered, because otherwise it wouldn't be the title of this video, But, oh my God, imagine her parents' pain when they found out.
Was that kind of behavior regarded as rude in her household? It was also completely out of Grace's character. As the entirety of December 2nd, 2018 came and went, and Grace's parents still had not heard from her, they knew that something must have happened. Wanting to ensure...
I mean, my parents too would feel the same way if I didn't respond to them in like 20 hours. They would feel like, oh, something really bad happened.
that they did not overreact, they waited 3 total days before...
Wait, what? They didn't overreact. They waited
sure
3
that
days.
They did not overreact. They waited 3 total days before contacting Auckland police and reporting Grace missing. While Grace's parents tried tirelessly to get into contact with their daughter, Jesse rented a red Toyota Corolla hatchback from a rental car company in central Auckland.
Okay.
By the time Grace was officially reported as a missing person, a public appeal was issued, and all of Auckland was on high alert in search for the foreign backpacker who seemed to have vanished into thin air. According to Jesse, he and Grace had engaged in rough intercourse that ultimately went too far, resulting in Grace being choked to death at Jesse's hands.
Oh, damn.
But, according to Jesse's own phone records, something else happened entirely. Evidence was found that proved Jesse had taken intimate photographs of Grace's lifeless body after having killed her.
Oh, no.
Then, instead of reacting in a panic as he would have if her death had been an accident, as he claimed, Jesse proceeded to search for disturbing content online, while Grace's body lay at his feet.
Man, this motherfucker is crazy. Man, this motherfucker is crazy. Hold the fuck up. Oh.
Then, Jesse looked up the Waitakere Ranges, a rural location just a 45-minute drive away from the hotel. As we mentioned...
To bury her? I guess? To bury her body? Man, this is making me kind of, something's burning inside of me. I feel kind of bad inside of me.
Jesse rented a car while Grace's parents tried to determine if their daughter was in danger. But before he did so, he was seen at a local store purchasing a large suitcase with wheels.
He's gonna put her body in the suitcase and then try to bury her in the forest 45 minutes away from the hotel. Am I right with this? I don't know. We're gonna find out a few minutes.
Then Jesse made his way back to the hotel to drop off the suitcase before heading back out to purchase various cleaning products. After successfully renting a car and returning back to the hotel room to drop off the rest of his purchases, Jesse is captured on CCTV later the very same afternoon, meeting up with another woman at a bar. The other woman, authorities concluded, was another date that Jesse had arranged on Tinder. All while Grace's lifeless body remained on the floor of Jesse's hotel room. While on the date, the woman who has remained unnamed claimed that Jesse made a comment that, quote, "Police dogs cannot smell dead bodies if they are buried more than 4 feet in the ground."
He said that to his new date with this woman who I hope she wasn't another victim of his. I hope the previous girl, rest in peace to her, I hope she was the only victim of this motherfucker right here, man. Wow.
Later that very evening, Jesse was once again spotted on the camera in the hotel's elevator, borrowing a dolly to move 2 suitcases out of the hotel, one of which contained Grace's naked body that Jesse had folded into a fetal position until it fit. Jesse then proceeded to exit the elevator on the first floor and roll the dolly out of the hotel's glass doors. He is seen loading the suitcases into the red Toyota that he had rented earlier in the day. After doing so, he returned the dollies to the hotel and exits once more before driving away from the scene of the crime with Grace's body in tow.
Thank God for cameras. Thank God for cameras. I want to believe that they arrested this dude I mean, from all the camera footage.
Jesse ended up burying the suitcase with Grace's body in a shallow grave in a forest area near Scenic Drive in the Waitakere Ranges. The same location he had been looking into just moments after taking her life.
I was expecting that. I was expecting that.
And by the time anyone had realized that Grace was missing, Jesse was already returning to his normal routine.
What was his normal routine, man? To go on a dates with girls from Tinder and then killing them?
On December 7th, Grace's father, David, was able to fly into Auckland to demand information and answers from local police.
I guess when her father moved to float to Auckland, she was still missing, right? They didn't find her body.
At that moment, police had also managed to identify a male companion that they believed to be with Grace in her last moments. 26-year-old Jesse Shane Kempson. Later the very next day, Jesse was taken in for questioning regarding Grace Millane's disappearance. Throughout the questioning, it was clear that Jesse could not directly answer questions regarding the suitcase that he was seen carrying on CCTV. After the interrogation with Jesse,
that was the guy.
Police publicly announced that they were treating the disappearance as a murder investigation, and Jesse was formally charged with Grace's murder. At the time, due to New Zealand law, his name was not publicly released. After further investigation, police were able to locate Grace's remains in the Waitakere Ranges shortly after 4 p.m. on December 9th, 2018. A little over a week after her death. Jesse Shane Kempson was on trial 3 separate times. During the first trial, Jesse was convicted of murdering Grace Millane in December of 2018. He was then sentenced to 17 years in prison. At his second trial, Jesse was found guilty of, quote, sexual, physical, and financial abuse of a former girlfriend, who had stepped forward after seeing Jesse's name in the news for the murder of Grace Millane.
Oh, so another ex-girlfriend. Yeah, he says Jesse's ex-girlfriend.
Jesse's ex-girlfriend claimed that Jesse had tried to kill her in January of 2017.
Oh,
stating that he had chased her around the house with a knife and choked her into submission before forcing himself onto her.
So
at the end of this,
so he raped her. Oh man, this guy needs to be. I'm not. I'm not gonna say more because it's YouTube. He's gonna take down the video.
Jesse was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison.
What? 7.5 years for a murder and an attempted murder and rape of his ex-girlfriend. 7.5 years.
Finally, at his third trial.
Okay, so it was a third trial. Man, this video is getting me fucked up.
He was found guilty of assaulting a woman. This woman, like Grace, had actually met Jesse on Tinder, and stepped forward after hearing of Grace's murder. At the conclusion of this trial, Jesse was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. To add to the tragedy of this case, Grace Millane's father, David, recently succumbed to cancer 2 years after his beloved daughter died.
Rest in peace to both of them. But wait, Jesse, what?
Jesse Shane Kempson's story is a chilling one, and one that will hopefully remind you to be...
Yeah, okay, but at the end of that, he said that he was sentenced to 3.5 years on the third trial. Excuse my ignorance, but was that added to the previous sentence he had? Or was it just for all of that he had to be in prison for 3.5 years? Or was that added to the previous years that he got from the previous trials? I don't know, man. Shit like this just get me fucked up. It gets me really mad for people like this, because if I had him, if I saw him in person and I knew all of this, I would be like, ooh, you know. But yeah, man. whatever. Yeah. Wow, that was really good. I love the storytelling of the dude and the voice of the guy describing all this. I love it. You know, shout out to that channel, man. Explore with us. But yeah, I got nothing else to say, man. It's fucked me up. But until the next one, make sure to stay calm. Make sure to stay chilling. Make sure to stay safe. Make sure to be aware of anybody around you. And yeah. Peace.